Happy New Year, Wildcats fans. Damon and I got all the information on TCU, Arizona's newest running back pickup, and all things Caleb Love. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in 30 seconds. What up, Wildcat fans? We are here for a Tuesday episode of the AZ Wildcats Podcast with myself, Kevin Thomas, and my guy, Bark, Damon Dog, over there on set. Damon, how we feeling? New Year's Eve, December 31st. It's a new dawn. It's a new day tomorrow. How we feeling?
Feeling great, Kevin. You know what they say, if you're not hydrating now, you know, you're already cooked.
Yeah.
New Year's Eve, it's going to be a party tonight. Everybody be responsible, be safe, drink some neutrals. I heard that's kind of the drink of New Year's this year. And yeah, have a good time. Kevin, you got any New Year's plans?
I think me and my friends are just having a little responsible, safe get together. You know what I mean? I think we're doing like a late gift exchange situation. A lot of people were out of town for the holidays. So yeah, just getting together, a little potluck, little gift exchange, nothing too crazy. Hopefully, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, does it get any better than that? Myself, yeah, kind of the opposite. I think I'm going to be heading out to Cave Creek over to Buffalo Chip. So, you know, things are, you know, they could get a little bit wild. But I digress. Kevin, we had a big win in basketball last night. First Big-12 win in program history. Caleb Love, he's back. He shined. 33 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 0 turnovers. Definitely the you know, star of the show. Definitely the, you know, big talking point for today. You know, let's just overall thoughts on Caleb Love's performance yesterday.
Yeah, I think overall Caleb Love had maybe one of his best games in his college career last night. I think certainly one of his best games in an Arizona uniform. He played almost a perfect game last night. He had 0 turnovers. I believe I neglected to mention that last night on the post game, but 0 turnovers and 7 assists out of Caleb Love. Obviously you'll take that every day of the week, but that is something you don't want to take that kind of night for granted. And if he can bottle up some of that efficiency, which I think was key for him last night, it'll be huge for Arizona going forward. He shot 11 for 17 from the field, 5 for 11 from 3. One of his most efficient nights of the year. And hopefully he can, like I said, bottle some of that up heading into Big 12 play.
I'd say definitely his most efficient night of the year. I mean, he was absolutely unbelievable. Big threes that came in big moments, right? Moments that we haven't seen this team hit big shots in all season long. Caleb Love is, you know, like he's going down there and he's got a guy in his face, you know, Reynolds on TCU going crazy on the other end, hitting big threes to get them back into it, you know, getting the lead down to 4 points. Arizona controlling the whole game. Caleb Love is just going back and responding. And that's what we have not seen from this, you know, this specific team. I won't say Tommy teams in general, but this specific Tommy Lloyd team has not been able to hit big shots all season. It's just, you know, it's exactly what the doctor ordered. It's exactly what U of A fans wanted to see. And it's got to inspire confidence. It has to inspire confidence going into the rest of the Big 12 play because, you know, we haven't seen that yet. And it goes to, you know, is he mentally, like, is something going on with Caleb Love?
Yeah, I want to talk about that for a second because I think, like, when you start the year, you know, the way that Arizona did, I think yes, fans are prone to kind of mental health checking the players and seeing where they're at. And I saw some discourse online at the beginning of the year is, does Caleb Love even want to be here? Is he focused on basketball? Is he, you know, disappointed that he didn't make it in the draft last year? I think all of that is too far speculative. Like, none of us know him nearly personally enough to make those kind of assumptions. I think, you know, whether or not a player is engaged out there or not can be obvious at times. I think with a guy like Caleb Love, though, he is kind of more of that laid back type until it gets going, until things start to fire on all cylinders. Then you start to get the flexing and the screaming and all that. But I think there was much too much made of his mental state this year, and his lack thereof, or his engagement with the team this year. Because I think when he has a game like he did last night, no one's talking about, is Caleb Love thinking about the draft? Is he thinking about not making the draft? Like, people just want to see Caleb Love score, and when he's not scoring, the world must be falling around him. Something must be drastically wrong. I think we as Arizona fans can get a little bit dramatic with that kind of stuff. But
yeah, I mean,
he's locked in. He's clearly locked in.
I understand 100% what you're saying. I guess I wasn't trying to say that he was like, he's mentally like checked out, like he doesn't want to be here. More so that like he's putting a lot of pressure, extra pressure on himself because the shots aren't falling. That's valid. This was displayed last night. I think Tommy says it here in this post-game quote. Like I have him talking about Caleb here, and he says, I think something that's not talked about enough when you're a guy of his stature and you come back to school, it's not easy, and there's a lot of emotions involved. When you come back, you want to do it great, you want to do it perfect, and when it doesn't, it's a gut punch. So I think he showed a lot of character in how he's handled it, how he's responded to that situation. There's expectations, and it hasn't gone well. For him to come out and play the way he did, just the way he carried himself, was great. I think that encapsulates exactly what I'm trying to say right now. Like, when you're Caleb Love and you're an All-American last year and you come back, and usually you don't get Caleb Love caliber players back for another season, right? Like they're an NBA prospect. For whatever reason, he's not considered to be on that level as an NBA prospect. This is just exactly what you needed to see out of Caleb Love. Of course, you're going to have a lot of pressure on him. Like, of course, there's going to be, there's just a ton of, expectations on him to be the best player on the team. And when he's not, everybody points the finger and blames him. So, get him crawling himself out of this hole is just so massive for this program. And that, really just the future prospects of this season.
I totally agree. And I do think that your larger point you're making about him overcoming the early struggles is a huge thing, right? I think, if we look at his stats from, there's a comparison graphic we made here. These are his stats from the first 9 games of the season. He averaged 13.3 points, 2.9 assists on just 36.6% from the field. Now, in his last 3, though, he's been balling, Damon. 26.7 points, 4 assists, and almost 60% from the field. And now, if we remove the first 9 and we just look at his last 3 games, this is the Caleb Love that we wanted to see as fans coming into the year, right? And I think that this is the Caleb Love that we might get in conference play. I think once you get over that hurdle, I think mentally, we've all experienced obstacles in our own life that seem insurmountable or seem like, wow, I'm really stuck, right? And then once you get past that initial leap, right? I guess what I'm trying to say is, let's hope that this TCU game is him breaking down the door to get back to the Caleb Love that we know he can be night in, night out, right? I think that maybe there were some mental blocks, maybe like you're saying, of just a lot of pressure on him to make it perfect, like Tommy was saying, in those first 9 games. And then maybe he's just playing more of free Caleb Love basketball in these last 3, and maybe that's what we need to see going forward from him.
Yeah, you mind bringing those stats back up for a second? I think something that bears noting here on that 26.7 points in those last 3 games, he's done that on 17, 15, and 14 shots. So, efficient numbers there. Obviously, you see that field goal percentage. And then, of course, on the, on the just those last 3 game stats, you have those turnover numbers there, 1.3 turnovers per game. On Caleb Love's usage, I mean, that's incredible. That's unbelievable. Like,
1,000%.
If Caleb Love and Jaden Bradley are going to be your primary ball handlers, if you can keep them under, 4 turnovers a game, this team is going to be in an unbelievable spot. And Caleb Love has taken really good care of the basketball recently. So you love to see that.
And you bring up that number. I think you just said 4, right? Was the number that
you
brought
somewhere
up
around there.
I think you're on the money with that. Jaden Bradley himself had 3 turnovers last night. Caleb Love had 0. That's right under there, Damon. That's under your marker. And I think even some of the turnovers that Jaden Bradley had were completely preventable. They were uncharacteristic of him. I know last night we were talking about it watching the game that if Jaden Bradley doesn't have those 2 silly turnovers where he dribbles into his defender, we're talking about 1 combined turnover on what would it be? It would be 13 assists between Jaden Bradley and Caleb Love with 1, I would say, forced turnover, which I think is perfection almost from your backcourt. And that's not something that I think we as Arizona fans have expected, not unfairly. No backcourt is perfect, right? But I think
this backcourt is going to have to carry this team.
Yes,
like you don't look at the you're not looking at our big men and saying this is a big men group that can carry us through the NCAA tournament. Like, everyone knows guard play is the most important thing in the NCAA tournament as is, but specifically with this team, like the makeup of this team, it's going to have to be the Jaden Bradley and Caleb Love show the whole season long if we want to be successful.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I think if you can get them both hitting on all cylinders more nights than not, I think you're going to have a much easier time in Big 12 play than you would otherwise. I think looking at last night, you brought up the efficiency of Caleb Love over the last 3 games. I think that's probably what's kept him out of the NBA so far, Damon. I think it's the efficiency or lack thereof at times, and kind of the willingness to fall into poor shot selection when things aren't working.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing over the last 3 games that, yes, 2 of them were Sanford and Central Michigan, but last night he played smart, efficient basketball. And I think if he can continue to do that, I think everything else will fall in place for him. I think that people important for his future will start paying attention, but more importantly for us as Arizona fans, Arizona's going to win more basketball games if Caleb Love is playing efficiently and keeping his head focused on that efficiency and not making sure his shots are falling, because the shots are going to fall if they're going to fall. He ultimately can't control that, right? So
yeah, you just got to keep playing his game,
yes,
right?
yes.
And you know, like, I think it's a funny quote, but it has some truth to it. Like that Dion Waiters, you know, I'd rather be, you know, 0 for 50 than 0 for 100 than 0 for 1. Like, because that means that I didn't keep shooting my shot. It means I kept playing my game, and there is something to be said for that. Like, as long as Caleb's shooting his shot, he's feeling it, right? Like, and so we just need him to, some of those to go in, but also just him to play smart basketball. Don't force it, obviously. Like, he'll be all right. He's got a lot of experience. I've been kind of, you know, as everybody's been so doom and gloom, not to like toot my own horn or anything, but I feel like Caleb Love is like, he was going to figure it out. He was always going to figure it out. Like, what are we talking about? Caleb Love has been a great college player for 4 years now. Like, this is his 5th season. Like, the dude knows how to play basketball. He's a hooper. Like, he's not going to shoot 40%, you know, 39% the entire season long. He's not going to shoot 29% from 3 all season long. Those things were going to work themselves out, averages, law of averages and whatnot. So
I totally agree.
Caleb Love, like, we're going to get good Caleb Love games. We're going to get some bad Caleb Love games the rest of season 2. Like, that's just what's going to happen. That's who he is. But you're going to get more good than bad. And hopefully we've seen the worst of it, right? Yeah. Hopefully the worst of it's behind us. And now we can just kind of continue to stack some good games. And you know, get that all conference slot at the end of the season and at the, you know, in the honors ceremony. Like,
yes, sir.
That's the type of stuff we need if he's going to try to make that NBA career. So
bring home the hardware, Caleb.
Yep.
Bring home the hardware.
Absolutely. I just want to take a second. Thank everybody out in the chat who's watching. We got Erica. We got June, of course, Kevin's mom. Valley Boy 14. Thank you. Rick Heath. He says there, what did he say there? Our guards play their potential. We will go to the big dance. Of course. I mean, like, that's 100%. If Jaden Bradley and Caleb Love play to their standard, we're going to be in the tournament. There's no 1,000%. Question in the world about
making
that.
Making noise in the tournament, too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, Jaden Bradley, he showed up in the tournament last year.
Yeah.
In a big way.
Yep.
Was kind of his coming out party. You know, he earned that starting point guard spot with his play in the NCAA tournament. Caleb Love, obviously, you know, a little bit more hit or miss. He's had good tournaments before for North Carolina. He wasn't great for Arizona last year. I think that, like I said, law of averages, like, to me, that tells me Caleb Love, we're going to get good Caleb Love in the tournament. Maybe that's wishful thinking, but that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think we were in the same camp all year about Caleb Love figuring it out, Tommy Lloyd figuring it out. I think you can make the same argument for different reasons, obviously, but both for Caleb and for Mr. Lloyd to figure it out, because Caleb Love, as you said, you spoke to, he is a highly accomplished college basketball player.
Yeah.
One of the best pure scorers in the nation, at his position for sure. And I think you just have to have patience with these players, because let me put it like this. If Caleb Love was the kind of player that's going to be consistently putting up 25 to 30 points with great efficiency, he wouldn't still be in college, y'all. Like, he would have been gone by now.
Yeah.
I think you have to trust in his ability to play through his own flaws and figure that out as he matures in his career. And we're seeing that. And I think that he's a player you need to trust to figure it out. I think KJ Lewis is a guy that we should be more trustful of to figure out his role on this team. Last night, for example, Damon, when Caleb Love and company were running the show, KJ Lewis quietly had 8 assists.
Yeah, we were talking about that before the show, Kevin. Like, I looked at you and I said, KJ Lewis had 8 assists last night. I mean, career high for him in assists. Like, that's not necessarily a normal thing from KJ Lewis, but you love to see him making winning basketball plays and just affecting the game on a positive level, given the start that he's had this season thus far.
Yes, and I was saying it, I believe, on McHale Madness. Again, check out McHale Madness. January 2nd is our next episode. But if the main reason I was happy with KJ Lewis going to the bench temporarily, or whatever the situation with that is going to be, I was happy with that because, to me, Lewis is a player who every game is going to have a slightly altered role, right? Depending upon what the team needs from him.
Mm-hmm.
I think last night was an example of, if your guards show up, KJ Lewis is free to flow within the game and not force things. I think at times this season, I've been watching the games like, why is KJ Lewis trying to take over? What is going on here, right? Like, if it's not Jaden Bradley and it's not Caleb Love, then it kind of has to be KJ Lewis. And I don't think that's, like, with all due respect to KJ's offensive ability, I don't think that's the best way for Arizona to win important basketball games.
Yeah.
And so last night, him kind of fading into, a very impactful role player role, I think was the best thing for this team. I think that's why I think that's the real reason you have KJ Lewis coming off the bench, is so that he can be impactful in the ways you need him to be impactful, and he's not trying to do too much to start the game.
Yeah, and obviously, like, you don't need to start when you play 31 minutes a game. Like, he played 31 minutes last night. You had Carter Bryant play 24 minutes. ADO played 11. Tre Townsend played 16.
Mm-hmm.
Like, clearly, Carter Bryant and KJ Lewis were given more run last night because Tommy Lloyd's, he was watching the game and he said to himself, these guys give me a better chance to win. I do think that, the Wildcats are in a good spot where they have those options, right? Like, you can kind of play it game by game, but the best version of this team involves KJ Lewis, Carter Bryant playing at that level, playing those minutes, playing above guys like ADO and Tre Townsend, who, respectfully, like, there's a reason they came from Group 5 schools. Like, they came from Campbell and from Oakland because that's, I think a lot of times, like, those players have athletic ceilings, right? Like, that's kind of where we're at. Carter Bryant, KJ Lewis, there's a reason that they came to Arizona straight out of high school, and it's because they're freaks of nature. Like, the ceiling of this team is just going to be flat out better when those guys are hitting on all cylinders. We're going to talk a little bit more about Carter Bryant and more right after this break on the AZ Wildcats podcast.
All right, y'all. Well, if you know me and Damon, you know we are going to celebrate this New Year's. And how are we going to celebrate this New Year's, Damon?
Neutral.
We're going to celebrate it with Neutral.
You know it.
Neutral. Keep it tasty, Tucson. If you're not keeping it tasty, you're not drinking Neutral. This is a public service announcement, as it always is, for all of our hard seltzer lovers. Neutral is here. It has arrived. It's made with simple ingredients like vodka, seltzer, and real juice. And it tastes real good, y'all. Like, really, really good. Neutral can be light, refreshing, and show you what a vodka seltzer can truly be. All those other artificially flavored, random seltzers you see in the grocery store, just walk right past those until you see a Neutral, right? They have a variety of flavors, so you can pick from pineapple, watermelon, black cherry, orange, and more. Nothing goes better than college football and Neutral hard vodka seltzer. Neutral, keep it tasty, enjoy responsibly. 2024 Anheuser-Busch Neutral flavored vodka and carbonation. St. Louis, Missouri, shout out.
And if you guys don't already have plans for tonight, here's something that you can do. All in Arizona, all in the Valley, and it's the Fiesta Bowl. It's an absolute staple of the Valley. Fiesta Bowl, it's been going on for, let's see here, what is it, like, the parade was going on for 50 plus years. When even was the first Fiesta Bowl? Because it's
been a minute. It's been an institution, Damon. This bowl has been an institution of college football.
Yeah,
and this year is just another celebration of it. I was looking at this game this morning.
1971, Arizona State defeated Florida State. We don't really count that, though.
Yeah, we don't.
The early Fiesta Bowls.
What's the next one? What's the actual first one?
Let's talk about the early Fiesta Bowls for a second. Just like, I just need to throw this out there. Like, ASU basically made the game, like made the bowl game so that they could just play in it a million times. It's like, so you can't even count their Fiesta Bowl total. Like, it's pretty much like just a fake number, but this Fiesta Bowl is for real. Every time Boise State plays in a Fiesta Bowl, I've been saying it, been hammering it home, it's for real. Of course, we know the downside of that all too well as Wildcats fans, but then of course you have that Statue of Liberty play against Oklahoma, which might be the most famous play in the history of the Fiesta Bowl. You guys aren't going to want to miss it. It's at 5:30 tonight at State Farm Stadium, the Verbo Fiesta Bowl, and it is a part of the first ever college football playoff quarterfinal. They have a fan fest that starts over at 2:30, pregame party, block party, where there's going to be a concert and lots of games and stuff. So make sure you guys go over to that. If you don't have time, that's okay. 5:30, grab a neutral, get a ticket with through their website at fiestabowl.org/tickets. Before it's too late, join us for the first ever college football playoff quarterfinal at the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. Buy your tickets. Reserve parking and premium experiences at fiestabowl.org/tickets. And Viva Fiesta, Kevin.
Love to see that, Damon.
I'm excited for that game, man.
I am too.
It's hard to beat like New Year's time, like New Year's Six bowls going on, just big college football games between
every day too, like
teams
randomly. Brother, it's Tuesday.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I love it.
Teams that like you don't see play each other very often, except if you're, Colorado, BYU, and your two Big-12 teams playing in the championship.
And then you're like, well, this is actually the Big-12
You know what game we got going on right now? The ReliaQuest Bowl. Alabama, true. Michigan. I mean, think about that bowl game,
by the way, Damon.
16-10 Michigan. And then, of course, you have the most hated man in Tucson, Jed Fish, down 7-0 right now to Louisville.
Wow. Fishball.
Yeah.
The Fish Bowl. The Fish Bowl.
DeMond Williams, former Arizona Wildcat. I mean, it's so weird that like we count him as a Wildcat, considering like he was on campus for like genuinely like 2 weeks, Kevin.
Yeah.
Like he was on campus, like he was an early enrollee, so he joined in that spring semester of last year. Then Fish left, and he took off after like 10 days or whatever at school. Like it was wild. So technically former Arizona Wildcat, but will only ever play snaps for Washington. He's 0 for 2 with a pick right now.
Yikes. That's yikes.
Yeah, I mean,
yikes. Definitely not his NCAA counterpart. We're not going to get off too big of a tangent here, but I was down the road in a dynasty, and
he's nasty.
He's disgustingly good.
He's so
gross.
good in that game. He'll be really good next year in real life, in my opinion. But Jonah Coleman also 3 carries for 8 yards right now. We know all too well about Jonah Coleman. Let's get back into some basketball. Yeah, here we go. Quick little update for women's basketball. End of the first quarter, and the women's team is down 16-9.
Yeah, 18-9 actually now.
18-9 now.
Yes.
Believe against Utah, correct?
Yeah, at home today against Utah. Game tipped off at noon.
Utah's got a good team.
Yeah, they do. They do have a
consistently a good women's basketball program.
10-2 this
10-2 this year.
Yep.
Yeah, hopefully the Cats can pull that one out into the second quarter now.
Victory. The vibes are all over McHale for like more big conference victories, and we need that.
Yeah, we do.
As a fan base, we need those.
This women's team is really interesting because like they have some high octane recruits and some big time players. Can they put it together, and can they be a decent offensive team? That's kind of where we're at with it. Like they scored 9 points in the first quarter of this game. That's not gonna cut it. We need to play better than that. Of course, make sure you guys are following Erica Lee Day on Twitter. That is LEA Day on Twitter. She's at the game covering it for us, giving us some tweets. So yeah, head on over there if you want to get some updates over on that.
Yeah, and I was gonna bring up like about you talked about the offense as they're currently down now 20-9. It's like that's been like a thing with these Adia Barnes teams, right? Like the half court offense is just not.
Since Ari McDonald was just iso balling and
just killer ball,
ripping people's hearts out.
Yeah, just
it hasn't been not the best offensive game plans or just philosophy from Adia, but they do play good chaos ball.
Like the fight and the willingness to like play through adversity is like super admirable with the Adia Barnes teams. Yeah. It's just like, why are they going through so much adversity? Let's dig into that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah.
Right now, Jada Williams has 4 points. Like she's the best player on the team. Four out of the team's 9 points to start. Not great, but let's get a little bit back into the men's game from last night. We got some Carter Bryant that we wanted to get into, Kevin.
Yeah.
Carter Bryant, perhaps his best game in an Arizona uniform, right? I mean, it definitely was his best game against legit competition, I'd say. You get 7 points from Carter. 3 of 6 from the field, only 1 of 4 from 3, but couple of those 3-point attempts rattled in and out, including one that Tommy talked about in post game where he said like basically it would have ended the game. I remember I looked at you, Kevin, when it missed and it went in and out, and I said that was literally going to bring McHale center down to the ground.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
People they were ready to blow the roof off of that place when Carter Bryant shot that shot. And even though those shots aren't really falling necessarily and the touch looks a little off, like that's why they're going in and out like that in kind of a weird way. You like that he's kind of on target, right? Like you can improve upon that touch as long as we're sitting consistently or hitting the rim, going in and out. Like that's the type of ball we need to see from Carter Bryant. The basketball and football guy, shout out you, my brother. In the chat, he says Carter Bryant should start over Townsend.
Agreed.
We were just talking about it. Like
he's earned it.
The ceiling of this team includes Carter Bryant playing more than Tre Townsend. Do they necessarily need to start? I don't know. I mean, ADO is starting over KJ Lewis, and KJ Lewis is starting to play some better basketball now. Yeah. But KJ Lewis is still playing a lot more minutes than ADO. So is it a start sit situation, or is it more just like, what's the lineup that we're going to close the game with? What's the lineup we're going to close the half with? And I think that's where Carter Bryant can sneak his way into, because I think KJ Lewis maybe could find his way back into the starting lineup at the end of the season. I think Carter Bryant is going to continue to come off the bench for I think the remainder of this year. Correct me if you disagree, Kevin.
I mean, I think we'll see situations like towards the middle and end of conference play where maybe matchup dependent.
Yeah,
Carter Bryant could start because, excuse me, depending upon his development, right, there might be no excuse by the end of the year to start Townsend over Bryant, even though we all know that it doesn't matter who starts, it matters who finishes. I agree with you on that. It matters who the coach has in the last 5 minutes of the game to win the game, not who he has in the first 5 minutes to set the tone. I understand that. But I do think there comes a point where it's like you can't start the game without him if he develops to a certain point. My biggest thing with Carter Bryant, you asked if it was his best game he's had so far at Arizona. I think it is. I think because of the level of competition of TCU.
Yeah.
The only other option would be his Old Dominion game where he scored 12 points and had 4 rebounds. But that's Old Dominion, right? Like this was a game at home.
High 4-star like Carter Bryant going up against an Old Dominion should be doing that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that last night was the most confident. Right, I think the most confident and most secure we've seen Carter Bryant in his own game out there within Tommy Lloyd's system, and I think honestly, I see Lost Highway in the chat here bring up a decent point. He says, I'm not sure why people keep thinking that Carter can play the 4. There's a reason Tommy keeps him on the perimeter. Parentheses, he's too small. I think there might be some credence to that. Arizona doesn't really have a lot of big bruiser bigs, and I think that sometimes you do want to start the game a little more physical. Kind of set a tone, but I do think that when you're Carter Bryant can defend, right?
He is the height.
You don't have to be big and brolic to defend. I think like we saw last night, his length causes problems for guys. Whether you're huge and jacked or slender and skinny, like length is going to cause issues. And so I think you can defend without being too small. But I think we'll see Carter Bryant in the starting lineup by the end of the year, Damon. I really do.
I guess that'll be something to monitor. I mean, that'll be first Damon versus Kevin kind of mano call there, because I'm gonna go ahead and say that he doesn't, but 6'8", like that's tall enough to play the 4 at the college level, no question about that. Is he a little thin right now? Like, can he really bang down low with guys? I don't know. That's funny. I say bang down low, and Lost Highway literally says exactly that. He doesn't bang down low, though. He only hangs out on the 3-point line. Like we've been talking about Lost Highway, I think it's very matchup dependent, right? Like if you're playing a team that has super physical big men, a 6'10" power forward or something like 6'9" power forward that likes to, have post touches back to basket. Like, yeah, I'm not playing Carter Bryant there. He's not getting a bunch of minutes for me at the 4 in that game. But if it's a team that wants to play high up tempo pace, they want to run the floor, they play like one kind of conventional big man at a time and then more wings. Like he absolutely can play in that role. And I think that might be the best version of this team is him playing in that 4 spot, Tre Townsend on the bench, one of the big men out there. Like with what I've seen recently, Veesaar might be the, best version of this team as well with playing center. So it's the development of these players is definitely going to be fun to watch the rest of this season. Like Carter Bryant, KJ Lewis, Henri Veesaar, what are they giving you on a consistent basis? What can you expect from them? I mean, it's just going to be really fun to watch play out, I think, Kevin.
You know, it's going to be an interesting story to track the rest of this year, Damon. I think there's been a lot made of Tommy Lloyd's coaching acumen, and specifically his one-on-one like player coaching acumen. I think like a lot of people have criticized like the way he coached Kylan Boswell or the way he coached certain players that didn't develop at the rate that we expected them to develop at.
I've raised questions to you about Kylan Boswell and KJ Lewis, right? Like
1000%,
you see them in flashes in their first year, and when they weren't really expected to do much. Kylan Boswell 17, KJ Lewis, not like kind of a mid-tier 4-star recruit. And you see that development early, and then you expect that second-year leap to happen, and it never really comes. KJ Lewis, it's way too early to say that, but first 10 games, it's been rough. Continue on your point.
Yeah, no, I was saying, at what point do we have to give some kudos to Tommy Lloyd for because we have to remember just mere weeks ago where we were all at as fans with this team.
Mm-hmm.
We were worried. We were cautious, I'll say, about the talent level and being too generous with our takes about that. But I think, like, at what point do we give Tommy Lloyd a compliment and say, like, hey, you have Veesaar playing at a high level. If this continues, I'll say, you have Veesaar playing at a high level. You're turning Carter Bryant into an impact player at this level. Not that they're not doing their own work as well, but it's a mutualistic relationship, right? So I know we criticize Tommy Lloyd a lot, but at what point do we give Tommy Lloyd kudos? Because some of the players he's developed have become real impact players.
Yeah, I mean, I need to see more of it. Like, I need a bigger sample size, to be honest, and kind of I'll reevaluate at the end of this season. But I'm not, like, anyone that is, like, really questioning Tommy seriously, like, can he do it long term, I think is a crazy person. Tommy Lloyd is about as good as it gets in college basketball from a coaching standpoint. And yeah, have there been some concerns? Like, no coach is perfect. There's tons of flaws all around the table with all the top tier coaches in college basketball, but Tommy Lloyd is going to figure it out at the end of the day. And I trust him fully. I know Kevin does. I know most Arizona fans do. I just think that there's that faction of this fan base that's extremely loud and like very, they have high expectations, as they should, for this program. This program is one that, there needs to be high expectations for. This is a top 10 program in the country. Tommy Lloyd, as basketball and football guy puts it there, is a top 10 coach in the country. It's a perfect marriage in that regard. So we need to, I think we need to relax and just look at the bigger picture a little bit. Like, the season's not over. We've been on top of the world after non-conference, beating Duke last year at Cameron Indoor, beating really good teams in our non-conference schedule when we weren't really expected to do much, maybe. Like that, for example, that Ben Matherin team, like they take down Michigan State and whatnot. We're used to showing out in non-conference. I'm more concerned about how we finish the season. And for me, it's about how we get from point A to point B, not what happens at the beginning of all of that. I've been hurt too much as an Arizona basketball fan, seeing just like number 1, number 2, number 3 teams in the country after non-conference running through a terrible Pac-12. And then once it gets to March, we're not prepared.
Fraud
and
check.
I think that this conference season is going to prepare us well, and Tommy's going to get the boys ready to go.
That is one major thing about the Big 12, and I'm sure people have brought this up when Arizona made the move initially. Mm-hmm. But that's one thing that every season is going to ring true now, is that the conference is going to prepare you for the tournament now. I think in a way the Pac-12 kind of,
it was a huge,
some years it
huge detriment.
It hurt you, right?
That is the reason, first and foremost, that we are a school that is known for choking in the tournament, like flat out. And there is no room for gray area on this with me. Like, it is so black and white. The Pac-12 was, while it was horrifically underrated in football all these years, where everyone would look at the conference cannibalizing each other and didn't see it as, wow, the low-level teams in this conference are actually like pretty damn good, like better than SEC low-level teams. There's a reason that like last year the Pac-12 in its last year was the strongest football conference. Just as much as that's true, everyone was so dead on about how bad the Pac-12 was in basketball.
Midnight Madness.
The Pac-12 in basketball was a total joke. The conference didn't care about it. A lot of the schools didn't care about it. You have schools like Cal, who are known for being good basketball schools, just like completely just being like, we suck at basketball is what
Stanford,
it is.
Stanford, same thing.
Yeah, like and Oregon State, Washington State, like bad programs. It's refreshing being in the Big 12, and it's going to be refreshing to see the season genuinely help this team down the stretch rather than, make them think that everything's sweet when they get into the tournament. Oh, we're riding high. We won like 13 out of our last 14 games in conference in the conference tournament. Like, this is legit competition now.
And I think that's why I was so excited to watch them play against TCU.
Yeah.
Because the level of competition, obviously we did have a tough non-conference schedule, right? But we still didn't know who this team was. And I think that now entering Big 12 play, every game will be a great indication of, is this team ready for March? And I think that by the end of conference play, you know what it is, Damon? I think by the end of conference play in Pac-12 in the Pac-12 era, we as fans still had like no idea if the team that we were watching was like real or fake. You know what I mean?
I'll be honest. I bought in every year, but
I did too. But
saying,
it's
like,
clear
in the
as
back
day.
of your
head, you don't have the concrete standing to stand on, right? The foundation to stand on. I think now going through the Big 12, by the end of the year, every year, Arizona fans are going to know, okay, we're real. Like, we're going to compete in March, or not our year. And I think that that's what I'm most excited for in the Big 12.
It's such a wild card,
right?
Yeah, like we right now, like, I wouldn't be shocked if we missed the tournament. I wouldn't be shocked if we won the national championship. Like, maybe that's crazy, but like, I genuinely, there's a world where this team has a high ceiling. Like, on paper, it's a good team. There's a world where Caleb Love is just unbelievable for 3 straight games and carries the team on his back through the tournament. And I think there is also absolutely a world where we finish about like 8th in the conference and don't make the tournament somehow. Wow. So it really is volatile, and it really is going to be fun to watch, because we knew what we were seeing, like you said, in the Pac-12. We knew we were going to be a 1 seed, a 2 seed, a 3 seed every year. And we knew we were going to play some, hard-nosed physical team like a Houston that's going to come in and not care about how good of a season we have, not care that we're the number 2 team in the country all year. Like, so that's what's been hurting this team for multiple years now. Hopefully, like we're talking about, like the development of guys like Carter Bryant, like KJ Lewis, it's going to be really fun to watch, to see where this team can go at the end of the season. We got a little bit of football to talk, as well as maybe just a quick recap of everything that's gone on around Arizona athletics in the year of 2024. Of course, on a New Year's Eve, we're going to talk about that right now, right after this break.
Yes, we are back in the ad sequence, ladies and gentlemen. We have a new one, Carol Royce.
New sponsor alert.
But yeah. The Carol Royce real estate team is family owned and locally operated, with 3 generations of family members serving the Valley of the Sun. Carol and her team have an unbeatable track record, having sold over 12,000 homes. Damon,
I'm sorry?
12,000 homes.
Wow.
Across the Valley.
Is that good?
I think it's amazing. I don't know real estate ball like that, but I'm sure 12,000 houses is a lot of houses. But yeah, the point is here with all this, Carol knows the Arizona real estate market better than all of us, right? Choosing the right agent is a huge decision, and too often you're left with doubts of whether you made the right choice. While many agents make big promises, Carol Royce gives written guarantees. That's huge these days. A lot of people do a lot of talk, a lot of this, a lot of that, but having an actual written guarantee is massive. You can rest easy knowing you're not just making the right choice, you're making a guaranteed one. Love your home, or Carol will buy it back. If you're considering buying a home in 2025, the name to trust is Carol Royce. Your home sold guaranteed realty. Move up to one of our listings and we'll buy your home for cash. Cash money is how I paid it. Have questions? Call today or visit Carol online at carolroyceteam.com. That's Carol Royce, spelled Royse, team.com.
And of course, that's the best deal on your home that you'll find anywhere. The best deal on eyewear you're going to find over at Shady Rays. Shady Rays is like by far the best bang for your buck sunglasses that they have. We got our care package from our friends over at Shady Rays. I got some of those like, you know, kind of big, thick golf style sunglasses because I'm like, why not? If Shady Rays is supplying, like that's what I'm buying, and everything is. It's just unbelievable what they got going on over there at Shady Rays.
Really
how
is.
about the lost and broken replacement policy?
That's the best part.
Kevin, how
please,
about it?
Please tell them about it, because it's actually insane that Shady Rays is willing to do this for you, the customer. It's unbelievable.
I will absolutely indulge you on it. If your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't sweat it, Kevin. They have the most insane protection in all of eyewear over at Shady Rays. Every pair is backed by the lost and broken replacement policy. And that's crazy huge in sunglasses, because I know, guy like me, I'm breaking my sunglasses constantly.
I'm a loser of the sunglasses.
Me too. I'm mostly not breaking, but I'm definitely losing sunglasses. Not with Shady Rays, because I just go to my email, send in my order number, say, hey guys, lost these. They send me a new pair in the mail. I mean, you're spending. That's incredible. You're spending $50 on a quality pair of sunglasses. You're getting a deal with our friends over at Shady Rays using code PHNX for 35% off a pair of polarized shades.
That's a lot of percent.
And you're getting that lost and broken replacement policy to kind of just ensure your purchase there. I don't think it gets any better than that. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com. Use code PHNX for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by 300,000 people. Well, all right, Kevin. Like I said, we got a tiny bit of football to talk here. And actually something that, you know, we talked about a little bit earlier, but we might have jumped the gun on slightly, is Tre Spivey coming back to Arizona, his home state. Played at Hamilton. I believe his commitment to the Wildcats today, he has officially made his decision. Although it was leaning that way, it was not official at the time when we discussed it on our tier maker.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know if that was out there confirmed or not. But if that is confirmed, that's huge. I think that, you know how high I am on Tre Spivey. I said in our tier maker video, I think he could be like a legitimate star for this team next season. But I think regardless, you're seeing with the additions that Arizona football is making this offseason, the direction seems positive, Damon. Dare I say, I know I'm stepping out on a limb, but things are good this offseason. They look okay. Is that crazy?
It's
Arizona
not crazy.
has a top 20 transfer recruiting class in the nation. Third best transfer in the Big 12. Behind the schools like Colorado, who we know they have the hype package. You know what I mean? So it's like Arizona's in a position, I think, where you really have to recruit guys. Like, I know that sounds stupid, but I'm saying you really have to, like, shake hands, kiss babies, make promises and things, because you're not a Colorado coming off of a all-time year in school history with one of the hottest coaches in the country and one of the coolest, you know what I mean, like setups in the nation.
They won 8 football games.
Exactly, right? You know, I said.
But is that really a historic year
for that school? Yes,
they have a national championship.
But you can have.
I'm gonna stop the presses a little bit. They had a Heisman. That's cool. That's cool.
But I'm saying this year will go down in their school's history for sure, forever, and I think that's undeniable. I think, like, whether because you and I are not big Colorado guys. We're obviously not. Like, we do not like. At least I'll speak for myself. I don't really like the football program over there, but yeah, I mean, I think just the amount of noise they made alone will be remembered for a long time. But I digress.
Sure.
I digress. I think what Arizona is doing in the transfer portal this offseason should leave fans with nothing but encouragement. I'm not saying you should be all gung-ho on, we're so back, Brent Brennan ball, Seth Agee ball, let's go. But I think, like, just generally being encouraged by all these talented players wanting to come play for Arizona, it should leave you feeling positive at this stage. And when we see it, we'll see it, and we'll reevaluate at that point. But right now, I feel good about where Arizona football is
cautiously optic, right? That's where we're at right now. Like, cautiously optimistic. We see the depth of this team improving, maybe the bottom end of this roster improving. Like, we're flat out, we're not going to have the top end talent. We're not. Like, it's just, that's unfortunately where we're at with this team. But hopefully, just having better coaching on the offensive side of the football. Like, I'm talking about, you had the worst offensive coaching in the entire country last year in Power 4. Just getting average there is going to be such a massive improvement for this team. And then also just, bringing in a decent transfer class. And while maybe we don't have like the top end guys, 247 Sports does have us as the 18th ranked transfer class in the country, as you mentioned, Kevin, ahead of schools like Miami, Oklahoma, Washington. I'll say it again, Washington.
Take that for data fish.
Alabama, Ohio State. Like, it's obviously early, but we got 18 commits. The numbers of that is going to make a big difference when it comes to that team ranking, 18th ranking, because we do have so many guys brought in right now. We have such an influx and we need to replace a ton of players. But it is encouraging in general. And it was kind of helped out today or not today, but 3 days ago, I should say, by running back transfer Mike Mitchell from Utah, a freshman from Utah last year, 6 foot, 211 pounds.
Beefy.
Mike Mitchell is pretty intriguing prospect. I think that this went a little bit under the radar, Kevin.
I agree.
I think people kind of just saw it and were like, oh, he's a body for the running back room. We obviously have Ismail Mahdi, who's projected to be the starting guy, get majority of the workload, right? But he's a little bit of a smaller back. He's more of an elusive back, like more of a get in space type of guy. We needed a little bit of like some guys that are bruisers, right? And we have Kedrick Riscano coming back, who I think a lot of people, have high hopes for. He had 350 yards last year. He's 6 foot, 214 pounds, was a freshman, came from Arkansas. Like, he has pedigree. I think you have Ismail Mahdi here, and right below them, you have Mike Mitchell and Kedrick Riscano just fighting for those secondary carries. And I like the makeup of this running back room now, Kevin.
I'm laughing not at your take or not at Mike Mitchell, but I'm laughing at what your take made me think back to, right? You said, what did you just say? You said you're going to have Ismail Mahdi at the RB1 likely, and then a competition for RB2, right?
Yeah.
Now, what is Arizona kind of doing at some of these positions? They're just bringing people in to compete, right? And I think back to what Brent Brennan said about his practices and his ideal way that he wants his practices to feel. If you take Brent Brennan at his word, he's saying he wants his practices to feel like war, competition, just battle, so that when you get to the game, it's easy. You've been there in the trenches with your guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think, dare I say, maybe that this is more of a setup that he wanted, where it's like not defined roles, and you're kind of you got guys of similar talent battling it out. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand the roster he took in last year was way better, and I understand that. Not only was it way better, it was a lot probably deeper maybe than the roster that Arizona's going to have this upcoming season. But I guess I'm saying that I think that this transfer portal might be good for Brent Brennan. I think that he's getting the team that
it's just a refresh.
He wants, right?
Yeah.
I think that he's able to paint it the way he wants to paint it, even though we all look at it as fans and say, well, what about last year when you had all the more talent? This might be maybe a better fit for him as a coach. But that's what you made me think of. The running back competition is only going to be good for that room, is my point.
Definitely. I mean, competition breeds the best out of people. And you're kind of hitting the reset button for Brent Brennan in this program, right? Like, that's where we're at with it. He's, the expectations, while obviously like super disappointing season the most, I would argue, and things went really bad for Arizona fans. Like,
awful, bro.
I can't almost think of anything that makes me more depressed than this past football season. That being said,
no, I can't do it. Sorry.
You're good. That being said, it's just like it's hard expectations are placed on you when you have a team that won 10 games the year before, and you have basically everybody that people know about coming back. The people that people see, Noah Fafita's the T-Max, like, on paper, it looked like the team should be really good again. Jonah, Takario, like there was a full roster of guys there that had a bunch of pedigree. Now those expectations are gone. There are no expectations. We are on the floor with expectations. We might be in the core of the earth with expectations, Kevin.
I mean, I don't think you can go any lower than where we're at. We might be floating into space. Like, might have went through the core, through the bottom, and now you're just
out like
we're
a
in
black
space
hole
again.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's like, so anything is positive. Any sort of improvement is positive at this point. And I think that this reset button could be big for this program. Mike Mitchell, of course, 47 carries, 150 yards, 1 touchdown for Utah last year. Not very great numbers, 3.4 yards per carry, but he was a freshman. And all throughout training camp, the talk about the Utah running back room was, Mike Mitchell is really pushing these guys for playing time as a freshman. They had experienced backs in that backfield, and Mike Mitchell was sitting there in training camp on the heels of him, according to, Kyle Whittingham, who's had really, really good running backs and knows how to recruit running backs over the years. Utah brings in Wayshawn Parker from Washington State, one of the best running back transfers in the portal. Mike Mitchell gets out of town after that. Ismail Mahdi will be at Arizona for 1 year. Maybe Mike Mitchell could be the guy who, spells him this year and steps up the next year. You never know. I think it could be a pretty big pickup. We're going to talk about just kind of the end of 2024 and, how Arizona Athletics fared this season and this year right after this break here on AZ Wildcats Podcast.
Well, Damon, one thing about Arizona football this past season is there was no shortage of tickets available for these games, unfortunately, right? But one place where you can always find tickets to hot ticket items and events is with Game Time, Damon. Game Time is our friends at Game Time. They are a wonderful app that has helped me get tickets for concerts and things and sporting events. I used it for D-backs tickets this past season. RIP. But Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that we're here to talk to you guys about today. It makes ticket buying for events so much easier. It filters out all the fluff so you only get the incredible deals on great seats, so you're not wasting your time searching through thousands of seats in a huge arena to find the one that fits and is the best deal. That's what Game Time is here for. So what it does is you can use the app feature called Customize Your Spot, and what it's allowed to do is it shows you all the best deals. You can shop through all the best deals, and what Game Time is here to do is take the hassle out of buying tickets, right? So Game Time Picks also makes it easier to find better value on tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, etc. They also have all-in pricing, seat views. You can get a panoramic view, Damon, from your seat in the app before you buy the ticket.
One of the best features of any app of all time.
And I do want to say this is, I have to say this, as someone who used to buy tickets with other platforms before I found out about Game Time with our code PHNX, where you can get $20 off your first purchase, is I would go look at a seat, then go to another website, Google someone who found an image and posted it from that seat. It's a complicated process, right? But with Game Time, it takes all the fluff out of it, and you can just see the panoramic view from your seat right in the app before you buy it. Like I said, check out our code PHNX for $20 off your first order. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Damon, what time is it?
It's game time. From our official ticketing partner to our official vehicle partner over at PHNX, Sanderson Ford has been killing it in the Valley for the past 70 years at their Glendale, Arizona location. Did you know, Kevin, that that's the biggest Ford dealership in the country? I'm not talking the state of Arizona. I'm talking the country.
Yeah, I know dealership ball. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there you have it. Kevin's doing his research on his dealerships, and I'll tell you what, when you go out there, it makes total sense why it's the biggest dealership. They have a damn diner. They have an actual food diner, old style
diner.
Literally, it's amazing. I had a patty melt there. It was like $6. People were getting malt shakes. It's old style. It takes you back, and that's just one of the crazy little perks you can have over there at Sanderson Ford. Maybe grab some lunch when you're having a vehicle. Maybe sit down with your vehicle specialist who's helping you work through it. I'm sure they'll probably even buy you that meal if you ask them nicely. And of course, Sanderson Ford, all kinds of work in the community. Operation Santa Claus, what a massive success this Christmas season, this holiday season. St. Mary's Food Bank, Southwest Autism Research and Resource Center, Military Assistant Mission, Special Olympics of Arizona, New Life Center, and so much more. They're family owned and operated for 3 generations, thrive on no hassle, no pressure, no nonsense sales approach. It really is like family. We head out there. They treat us like family. They're the best. They'll let you test drive a vehicle, hit up a Bronco, hit up a Ford F-150, hit up a Mustang, hit up that Mustang SUV EV. That thing is cold, and get the new 2024 Ford F-150 truck with 3.9 APR financing for 66 months, plus up to $4,000 cash back. Similar savings on over 900 new and pre-owned vehicles on the lot. Sanderson Ford doesn't get any better than that. It really doesn't.
It really doesn't. Community-centered car dealership is all you really want, right? You don't want 100%. Some
You don't
people
want
that are just salesmen. You want some people that are in your community trying to better your community, trying to get you in a better car.
There's no question about that. Like it's not that slimy salesman vibe over at Sanderson Ford. Like,
what do I got to do to get you into this Ford? No, it's
these are legit people, real people. They'll sit down with you. They'll talk with you like real people. And it's a great, as far as a vehicle buying experience, it's the best you're going to find out there, especially here in the state of Arizona. No question about that. So we talked about the running back room, Kevin. Mike Mitchell coming in, decent sized commit there for the program. Tre Spivey, that information was coming from our guy Saul. He tweeted about it, so that's why I felt comfortable talking about it on the podcast. Saul has a little bit of a connection with Tre Spivey, and of course his dad, Junior Spivey, who used to play for the Arizona Diamondbacks, World Series champion, Diamondbacks legend, Junior Spivey. Maybe we can get Junior Spivey in here too, Kevin. Get our guy Derek Montilla talking to Junior Spivey. We got a fun little announcement about that. Me and Bo cut a quick Corbin Burns little video that we're going to drop on our PHNX YouTube. And we announced, of course, on there that Derek Montilla will be returning to PHNX. So, it'll be great. Well, hopefully, maybe we can get Junior Spivey in studio to sit down as well with that, talk some D-backs baseball. But, I mean, the direction of this football program seems to be at least improving from where we were. We were feeling pretty low about it, right? Especially the report that Brent Brennan was coming back from Michael Lev. I mean, like that was, I think initially that was the one that, like that was the lowest I felt. Like, oh yeah, here we go. All the ASU fans laughing at us, while they're in the college football playoff. Is what it is, but we're looking up, hopefully. What are some of the other things that happened in the great year of 2024, Kevin, with Arizona athletics? Do you have any favorite moment in particular, something that comes to mind?
Honestly, I think my favorite moment, my favorite moment of the 2024 year had to be the triathlon natty.
Yeah, were you locked in?
I mean, I love it. I just love winning. And our school wins things, and that's
it is nice
we
when we win. It does feel nice to be a winner sometimes.
Yeah, and it was a year of a lot of losing.
A lot.
I will say, I think genuinely the highlight for me is that I believe it's 3 of our players from our U of A baseball team are projected high in the MLB draft, and I'm excited for that. So I think it's
that'll be cool.
I think. That's really funny that my favorite moment from the last year is actually something that will come to fruition in the next year, because our year was so mid that it's hard to pick there wasn't a lot of moments where I was like, I'm so happy right now with U of A athletics. But if I was to pick a moment like genuinely that made me very happy, T-Mac breaking the record was awesome.
Yep, that's up there. Volleyball winning the NIVC title.
That was cool. That was an awesome week.
For those of you that don't know, that's kind of the NIT equivalent for collegiate volleyball.
And they should have been in the main tournament too.
They definitely should have been.
They got pushed out of there unfairly.
But they won. So
yes.
we got to bring home.
Ball don't lie.
Yeah, cut the nets. Cut the volleyball nets.
Cut the nets. Let them fall to the floor.
Another one I think that bears some noting is just the Arizona baseball season that they had last year. Not even just the first round picks, but they won the final Pac-12 championship. That was pretty huge. That was pretty awesome. As well as the final Pac-12 basketball championship as well. And the football team, I mean, I know that
it's been a long year, Damon. Wow.
Yeah, I know that it was disappointing, but I think technically, the Alamo Bowl was like a week before the year ended, right? So we didn't get the Alamo Bowl into our 2024. It technically falls in that 2023 realm, but
it would.
The basketball and football guy puts here in the chat, the UCLA basketball game where the whole football team came out and announced that they were back.
Oh my gosh.
Noah Fafita, T-Mac, Gunnar
say
Maldonado, Jacob Manu, all the boys. That was probably my favorite moment of the year. I've never been more hyped than that moment in my whole life. I was ready to run through a wall. I was ready to take bullets for people. Like that was.
It's crazy because that felt so long ago now.
Oh no!
I literally almost mentioned that as my favorite moment, but I didn't want to get fact checked and someone in the chat be like, "That was actually like not this year on the calendar." But that's incredible because that by far is the best moment, right? Like that has to be number one. It has to be.
Yeah, I think that's number one for me. That was so hype. I know it didn't lead to much, but
in the moment though,
goosebumps, Goosebumps. So you got softball winning their regional against Arkansas. in Fayetteville. That was, of course, a big moment. Tennis Pac-12 title. So it wasn't all doom and gloom for Arizona athletics. Of course, the basketball season ending the way it did to Clemson in the Sweet 16 in a very winnable game where, Caleb Love and some of your other best players just did not play their best game. And then the football season, the way it went, really disappointing. But, there were some positives to take away. If you, of course, are watching over on one of our channels, one of our great channel partners, come on over to gophnx.com. The party's going to continue over there as we continue to talk 2024 and round out the year here.
You know what, Damon? I have a New Year's question for you, right?
For sure.
If you could go New Year's celebrating responsibly, right, with someone from Arizona athletics, it can be a coach, it can be like an administrative person or a player. Who are you taking out with you on the town?
Damn.
It's a good one. I didn't tell him about this pre-show. I'm trying
to think of like a fun dude, right? Like I think I know who Erica Day would say.
J Flo.
Justin Flo.
Yeah, Justin Flo. Which actually is not a bad pick.
Because Justin Flo is buying shots for everybody.
Yeah.
He's probably got a big NIL package. He's buying everyone's rounds. He just wants to get lit, have a good time tonight, right? So that's not a bad option. It really isn't. I think Noah's just like a little too reserved. Like Noah's like my favorite guy ever, probably like all time human. But I just think that like he doesn't strike me as like a big party guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be wrong in that. Do you have an answer? Who are you
honestly,
thinking?
I'm thinking like
I need a little bit more time to cook.
I'm thinking honestly like Espo says Damon is my choice. I saw him at the 999 challenge.
Damn right.
That's a take.
Oh, I got my answer. Oh. Blake Gotcher. What are we talking about? My boy Blake Gotcher. That's who I'm partying with. You don't think Blake Gotcher's got big New Year's Eve plans? You're out of your damn mind.
Just signed to go play in big old Tucson? Yeah.
Blake Gotcher's 3 shotguns deep right now, Kevin.
Yeah. 3 neutrals deep for sure. But I'm thinking, honestly, I don't know why, but a guy like ADO came to mind, like KJ Lewis came to mind.
Just an Australian dude?
I just feel like ADO gets after it, no? I feel like if
all the Aussies, man.
Yeah, but honestly, okay, New Year's celebrating, we know that I will also be going out tonight. It'll be a little later, but me and Damon will be celebrating separately, but under the same moon, right? But I think if we're
on
having
God's green grass,
yes, in 2025, the year of the snake. But no,
is it the year of the snake?
I mean, it's going to be the year of the snake. It's.
Oh, I thought that it was like legitimately, and I was like, we're winning the World Series, but.
No. Maybe continue. It is. I mean, I haven't fact checked that, but I was gonna say, honestly, give me like Tommy Lloyd at like a dive bar. Like
that's
me
a great
and Tommy
choice.
Lloyd sat one here, one there.
Yep.
Just a bunch of rounds of beer.
4 people total in the bar.
Yeah,
including
including
the bartender.
Like a dive bar where the game is on, and then they got like some reality TV maybe or something.
Yeah, at the Buff, 100%. Espo at the Buff.
Yeah, at the Buff. Yeah.
Just a pitcher at the Buff, splitting it with Tommy. I mean, that does you got. Tommy's a cool dude.
Honestly, this is a deep cut, though. This is a deep cut in Tucson. Sorry to cut you off, but I don't think we're going me and Tommy to the Buff. Me and Tommy are going to the Silver Room.
Oh.
Free popcorn, cheap drinks, and it's never busy.
Karaoke night, maybe? I've been there when it's busy.
I've never been there when it's busy. I used to live over there, but I used to live over there too. But I think my pick might be Tommy Lloyd. Because I feel like he's a hilarious guy when he gets a couple deep. I mean, I know he's a funny guy in general, but I feel like...
I think that's a great choice.
Yeah. Dive bar with Tommy Lloyd. Is there actually a better way to spend New Year's?
There isn't. I'm thinking my mind went straight to all players. Like, you're 24, right, Kevin?
23
coming on 24. I just turned 25 not too long ago. I'm feeling like a little bit more of the college age kids, right? So like, I'm just like, no, hello, fellow kids. Hello, fellow kids. I'll never grow old. So I'm trying to think of partying with all the college kids, but you're sitting over here being like, damn, Damon, be a damn adult and
I mean, hey, we
have an old fashioned with drink some whiskey neat with Tommy Lloyd.
No old fashioned for Kevin. No.
Well, Tommy's. I mean, come on.
He can have whatever he wants.
Tommy's a rye whiskey guy.
That's fair. Isn't he like a cheap beer guy though?
He also
like
could do that.
Brand redacted, very cheap. We all know it. 3-letter beer.
He might be. I mean, I don't think that. I think that's part of like Anheuser-Busch. That's neutral. Is it not?
All right, then yeah. So is he a PBR guy or no? Like
I don't
think
know.
he's a I've heard he's a PBR guy. I don't know.
Well,
but
I have an interesting little update on a score right here, Kevin. West Virginia is playing Kansas on the road right now in basketball, and they're up 38-20. That's the same West Virginia team that we lost to, of course, that we were projected to beat, and you know, it was a devastating loss to lose that game. They are absolutely dog walking the Kansas Jayhawks right now in Lawrence, Kansas. You don't see that too often.
Maybe that wasn't as bad of a L
at
as
the field
we
house.
Thought. Maybe Arizona's okay. Who knows? But no, that's a crazy result.
Maybe we are okay. I mean, you look at West Virginia here. Is Tucker DeVries even playing?
Is he not playing?
No.
Wow. That's actually, if he's not playing, that's a genuinely very impressive win, because his dad, I believe his name's Darian DeVries. He's got that team pumping on all cylinders for sure right now.
Kevin, I'm in shock.
I am too.
Tucker DeVries is not even playing. He's their best offensive player by a long shot, and they are absolutely taking it to Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse. I mean, wow.
I'm like kind of stunned.
The Big 12 is just wild, man. We talked about it a little bit yesterday on the postgame show. It really is like an any given Sunday type of conference.
I don't know if I've brought this up on the show yet. I think I have, but this is a prime example of like when I say that Arizona fans are in for a rude awakening in the Big 12. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that Arizona is going to bottom out every year and not be able to compete.
It's just every game matters.
Yeah,
every game you have to show up.
There will be games where West Virginia goes into Kansas and whoops on them.
Yeah.
And Kansas fans are probably going to be like, wow, that's insane. That's just the Big 12, but we can't lose that game, right? But I think Arizona fans will get to a point where it's like that. But now I think we as fans are at a point where it's kind of like, oh, did we just really lose to West Virginia? It's West Virginia. But it's like, yes, that is West Virginia, but it's different in this conference. Like that's a tougher team than you think it is, you know? And so, yeah, I'm excited because this is going to be a bloodbath of a conference, man. Especially if it's like this. Whoa.
And speaking of that, actually, you reminded me of something I've been meaning to get to. I wanted to call out Anthony Totri. I wanted to call out Eric Ruby, and I wanted to call out Kyle Cooper. Of course, they're on our PHNX Sun Devils podcast. Go troll them, check it out. If you're an ASU fan trolling us, go watch them, whatever. Those guys, I think that they were having their little victory lap watching Sannon average like 16 points per game in non-conference. Arizona's losing to every power conference team we play. We're finishing higher than ASU in this basketball conference. We're finishing higher than the Arizona State Sun Devils in the Big 12. It's not even going to be close, Kevin. It's not.
It's not.
ASU struggled year in and year out, Bobby Hurley teams, with the gauntlet that is the Pac-12 in basketball. We already went over it. The Pac-12 was a joke in basketball. Now that you can't take any team unseriously at the end of the day, like even the last place team in this conference is a team you have to show up for. There is a 0% chance that ASU finishes with a better record in conference than U of A. Take that to the bank. I'm willing to put anything on that. As per my call out, Totri, Ruby, Coop. What do you got? What do you got for me? I'm willing to put anything on the table. I really am.
Sheesh. A new Sanderson Ford?
No, I'm that confident.
But
damn it.
We'll find out more about ASU today because they go to BYU to play BYU.
Yeah.
BYU is 9-2. ASU also 9-2. But yeah, a lot of really good games starting up now that conference play.
They're all
is up
interesting.
now.
It's wild.
Yeah,
no more Oregon State Stanford on a Wednesday night.
God, it's good. It's so good.
It does feel good to be back.
I love it.
Feels good to play a legit basketball conference. Feels good to beat TCU, get that first Big 12 win. Feels good to have Caleb Love back. Feels good to be talking to you guys on the AZ Wildcats podcast. Shout out everybody in the chat for joining along. Of course, Leah Espo supporting, coworkers here at PHNX, but basketball and football guy, Lost Highway, June, Big Red, Rick Heath, Erica, Valley Boy. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to the whole chat. Much appreciated. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't already and subscribe to this channel. That means the world to us, and it does a lot in terms of helping us. Stick around. Leave a comment. Leave a comment about, do you think Carter Bryant will start at the end of this season or not? Kevin says yes. I say no. What do you think, chat? Drop it in after this video stops being live. And we'll Kevin, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah, no final thoughts from me. I just had to shrink myself down there for some reason. Don't know what happened with that. I guess, my final thoughts just kind of were like, no, I'm ready to go.
Get out of here, man.
Arizona
ready to
basketball
party.
In my own head,
ready to start partying.
Yeah, it's the
I'm
New
ready
Year
to hit
day,
up
man.
my
I'm
boy
excited.
Blake Gotcher and see what we got planned tonight.
Well, I'm gonna text Tommy Lloyd then. Maybe me and Tommy might just go to the buff anyway.
Text him. Text
Forget
Tommy.
about it. You want to go hang out with Blake? I'll go hang out with Tommy, man.
We'll do. And that's what we have for you today on another edition of the AZ Wildcats podcast. We'll be back on a Friday for sure at noon. Believe we have Wednesday off tomorrow for New Year's Day, and Thursday off as our regular scheduled off day on this show. So we'll be back on a Friday at noon. Make sure you catch us then on the AZ Wildcats podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.